We're sitting in the heavy restoration shop at Historic Aviation Services, and in behind is the Calgary Mosquito Society Hawker Hurricane Mark 12 project.
The City of Calgary's Hurricane, RCAF 5389, serial number 814, was built at the Canadian Car and Foundry in Fort William, Ontario, now Thunder Bay.
It's an extremely complicated airplane to restore. Percentage-wise, I'd say we're 19.26% done. This is the gun firing switch. If you turn this way, you can't push the button. That's the safety. You turn it this way, and you press the button, and all hell breaks loose from 12 machine guns. This is going to be one of the better ones because I would say by the time we're done, 90% of the aircraft is going to be original to that particular serial number.
RCAF 5389, operated during World War II.
This one came on board 133 and then was lent to 135 for a while. Both were West Coast Home Defense Squadrons.
At the end of World War II, it was one of the airplanes that was surplus by Crown Assets Disposal Corporation out of southern Saskatchewan, very likely the Swift Current Airport, where it was bought by a farmer who picked up a number of these airplanes to use around the farm. An organization in Calgary called the Air Museum of Canada was formed by Lynn Garrison and a number of other Calgarians to look at the possibility of creating a large aviation museum in the city. They scrounged up airplanes from all over Western Canada, the United States, and they happened upon a pair of Hawker Hurricanes out in Saskatchewan that were with a farmer.
Farmers would purchase the planes to use for scrap metal and for parts, not for flying.
They bought these from the farmer, brought them back to Calgary, and they were part of that original collection of the Air Museum of Canada.
Well, luckily with the Hurricane, we've already done one. We've done the example. It's in the Reynolds Alberta Museum here in Wetaskiwin. That was some 25 years ago, but we still have Hurricane experience, which, the Hurricane being one of the rarer surviving examples of a World War II fighter aircraft. And also because it's become a bit of a cult airplane, there's a lot of publications, a lot of original plans that have been digitized, and a lot of information around on the airplane. So challenging, yes. Insurmountable, no.
Unfortunately, the Air Museum of Canada never did build its museum. It eventually dissolved, leaving a number of airplanes in Calgary. And in the mid-1970s, the Aerospace Museum of Calgary was founded to look after that core collection and to finally create an aviation museum for Calgary.
The City of Calgary awards the restoration of RCAF 5389 to the Calgary Mosquito Society. The project begins in the fall of 2012 at Historic Aviation Services in Wetaskiwin.
At the time the Calgary Mosquito Society got their hands on the airplane to begin the restoration, the airplane had been stripped down to virtually every last nut and bolt. The tube steel fuselage was stripped bare, the wings had been removed, all of the wood and fabric was gone, and it was completely disassembled. Essentially what we inherited was a collection of parts that used to be a Hawker Hurricane.
It won't be flown, and I'll say that unequivocally right now, and it's not being restored to be flown. But for all intents and purposes, the airplane could be flown. We're going to try and make it as operational as we possibly can.
After a handful of stewards and numerous restoration plans, this World War II plane is soon to be fully restored and with a permanent home. This
particular airplane is a Canadian-built version, and it's a little different from the British-built original examples, and it never did go overseas. It was always used for home defense. So, there's a lot of people in Alberta and BC that saw these airplanes when they were moving back and forth from the West Coast and into depots for repair and moving on to other units and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of people that were exposed to the Hurricane one way or the other during the war. So it's generating quite a bit of interest that way.
Restoration is expected to be complete in 2017.